I have lived in this community all my life, and there have been many times I wanted to be benevolent, but I can't. I have to go with what is set before me. I try to view all aspects of a development. There are certain criteria that we do have to go by, I understand that, but sometimes variances they're necessary for development. And development is something that we have had in this community, and we'll continue to have some. We're not going to have as much as I've seen. But the terms that you used, I kind of have some problem with it. I almost say a little bit resentment of it, but I have some problem. I'll use that word. Have a little problem with it, and I'm trying to be awfully nice and ladylike here, but I want to say, and I want to assure you that we're not swayed. We sit here and we really think about these things. We don't just show up and because so and so is in the comes up and speaks. Sometimes we certainly listen to the things that are said, and as I said, particularly about drainage, because that's a concern that we all have. Knowing Poquoson, that just about everywhere here sees some water at one time or another. It's a difficult situation that we'll continually face here in Poquoson, sadly, because we're so low. But I want to tell you that we're not quite that easily talked into things. We disagree sometimes with each other. We do it in a good way, but ultimately we try to work towards a good solution to things that come before us. So just rest assured that we're not quite that much of pushovers. Okay? All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have been summarily dressed down, but...
No, I'm not trying to dress you
Let me just say this.
But
I appreciate your comments. Many times I do come across a little curt, and I'm a little strong, and I've done that all my 84 years.
Oh, that's okay.
Just can't help myself. But I appreciate your comments.
Just want to let you know.
I understand that, and I think by you making those comments, I feel very comfortable.
Thank you. Now, if you'll have a seat, we'll continue on, and we're trying to do the best we can by everybody.
I know, but thank you so much.
It's not always easy because, some people want one thing, some other person wants something else. We try to do the best we can. Okay?
Let's leave it at peace.
All right. Sounds like a good deal. All right. So now what's our wishes on that?
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend council not approve these waivers.
I would second that motion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do we have to vote now?
I'm sorry.
Can we continue a little more discussion?
Certainly. Oh, yes, absolutely.
So Kevin said that we could vote on all of them separately or vote on the entire package of variances requested. Correct? Someone said that. Debbie said that.
Yes.
Do we want to do that versus just taking it all as one big package and saying, because it seems like the biggest concern is with the stormwater, and so do people have issues? I know there are rules and requirements, the street lighting thing. I mean, I'll tell you guys, 300 feet on my street, I must be in the middle of the 300 feet. So the street lights help me not one bit at all.
Right.
Yeah. So the point I guess I would make is it doesn't have street lighting now. Do we want to separate them into different pieces to vote on each one, or do you just want to take the entire? I'll do whatever the committee wants, but I certainly, or commission wants, but I certainly think that maybe some of these things aren't as important as others to us, and so I would ask that before we voted on the motion.
We would have to deal with this motion on the floor now unless both Vice Chairman and Commissioner would like to withdraw.
No, I'd prefer to keep the entire package as going along with, as Bill said, nobody has mentioned a hardship, and a hardship is required for us to grant a variance. So my motion stands for the entire package.
And I would say the same thing. Certainly the applicants have the opportunity to produce the hardship information when this goes to city council. So it's not like it's a dead deal, but I think we would have to see more for me to be able to recommend approval of any one of the requests. Again, it's basically my slippery slope comment. If we approve variance in some area, then we get a request for a variance down the end of Pasture Road, or we get a request for a variance down the end of Browns Neck or somewhere. And it's because you did it here, you're supposed to do it there. And I just don't want to get into that.
I think the hardship, that's the crux of the matter. It just, I don't feel that we've seen it. And it says that no variance shall be authorized by the city council unless, so in order to go by what we're supposed to be doing, we kind of have to, I mean, that's my opinion too, but I'm only one member here. Say y'all, are you okay with that, Chris?
I'm fine. I just wanted to ask, since she brought it up, if there was, if it was one or all.
That's a good question, and no problem at all with that. How about you, Lee? You got any more questions to?
No, my only, I guess, comment was this is a really strange roading configuration in this part of town with those two dog legs. And is there any plan to mitigate in the future or to straighten the roads in some way, particularly that corner? I mean, it's just it's getting built out, isn't it? So that we've lost the opportunity to do anything. So that's my only comment.
I don't know about that. All right. Well, now we have a motion and we have a second. Now, if you want to, anybody else, want to discuss before we go ahead, because we've got a motion and a second, and we can go ahead and vote if we're ready.
Right.
All right.
And this motion is for denial.
The motion
to make
is
sure you
to
understand
deny. Yes. So we're going to have Bill seconded, and we're ready to go.
Already.
All right. Go ahead, Becky.
Mr. Williamson?
Aye.
Ms. Fennickson?
Aye.
Mr. Godden?
Aye.
Mr. Clifton?
Aye.
Mr. Travis?
Aye.
Chairwoman Shriver?
Aye.
Madam Chairwoman, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0.
All right, and you can certainly take this to council, and as we've suggested.
This will still go to council next Monday?
Next Monday.
Yes. All right. Thank you. All right, and we are not finished with our meeting. We've got a few other things here to go over. Okay. Under unfinished business. And we've got, I guess, comprehensive plan participation team. Some thoughts on that?
Conversation. No, this is back on your agenda based on a letter that was sent to Chairwoman Shriver from the City Council asking, I guess it was from the City Manager on behalf of the City Council. And basically what they have asked is for the Planning Commission to consider increasing the number of candidates or the number of participants on the citizens community participation. Thank you. To include all of the applicants, which means that you would increase the participation from 12 to 22. And so we have brought this item to you this evening for discussion.
And I'm going to lead off because what I'm going to say is going to be short and sweet. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is my feelings. We spent a lot of time on this, coming up with a formula for what we thought would be a good way to approach this. We discussed it. We took applications. We reviewed those applications, and we determined that 12 people were necessary, and we even commented that we thought possibly that may be too many. And my thought is this, and if we put it on there, I'm going to vote against this because I feel like that what we did was right, and I don't feel, I have not seen any, it's just like what we just discussed, I haven't seen anything that would make me feel the necessity to change what we did. Now, if I saw it and I was told what that is, it may be different, but I have not had anything presented along those lines. So I feel like what we did was right, and I don't have any need to feel like I need to change that at the request of council. Now, that may put me in bad stead with council, but to tell you the truth, it's my feelings, and that's me. Now, have at it. I've said my piece, and y'all say what y'all want, and then we can put it on the agenda and vote for it. We can vote yay and nay, and I'll go with whatever. But that's the way I feel.
I got your back.
Thank
I
you.
agree with
Thank
you.
you, Rich.
100%.
I knew I could count on you.
100% I agree
Well,
with you.
I mean, I just don't see any reason to change it. I think it will
Agree.
delay and bog things down, and I just think we need to get on with it.
You would
And-
have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yes. Well, we mentioned that. We talked about it.
And it would just administratively bog the entire process.
So,
I think
is there a way
that's
to
very true.
include the other 10 people without bogging down the process, I think is the question. So I have talked to a few folks who were not selected, I guess, and to some city council members about it. And they asked me specifically why we did what we did, and I gave the same reasons that you guys just gave. I thought those were important reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So the response I got back, is there some way to include the additional 10 folks? Because if we'd had 100, I think their thing was if we'd had 100 applications, certainly it was, but they're really looking at the community participation and that we have these people who want to be part of their community, want to be part of the process, and we're sort of denying them that based on our thoughts that it will bog the process down. So could there be some subcommittees that we could include these 10 people on? Could there be some tasking?
Do we need them?
Will not all of our meetings be public
I would
meetings?
say we don't know. I don't know that we need them or don't need them. What I'm saying is these are the people who pay taxes in this city. These are the people who are just like us that want to participate with their city government. And we have basically said by reading a resume that we're not allowing these 10 people to participate. So I don't disagree or agree either way with what you were saying but I am saying that there are 10 people that asked to be part of the political process, and we are saying, nope, we did it, we got it, we're done. And so I think that maybe there's another way to include and involve these 10 people without bogging down the process and to make them feel like they were part. Could they be part of a review panel? Could they take the finished document from the 12 people and be a review panel? Like I said, could they take, just certain things and maybe take one issue, and, maybe the 12-person panel develop some issues or some concerns or some further research, give it to these 10 people. So I'm just asking if you've thought about other ways to include them in the process without bogging down the process and creating, and being overridden again by the council. That's all I'm asking.
I don't have any. I don't hold any. I just feel like this is, to me, it's, how shall I say? I want to say part of life. I mean, we're not always chosen, but there certainly are other ways that people can participate in this process. And as we just said, I'm sure it'll be a lot of public input meetings. Sometimes you can't always be chosen. I have certainly, most of my life, I haven't been chosen. And I have had to find other ways, I guess. I mean, I'm not deliberately trying to keep these people out, but it's just that we kind of felt like this was, we were asked to do this. We talked about it. We took it seriously, and we tried to do what we thought would be the best way to proceed.
Well, part of it is, too, we also made sure, or at least we attempted to get balance on that group. Mm-hmm. Those other 10, as far as I don't know, but they could all be to one particular issue, and now we no longer have balance. So we went through those resumes. We looked at where everybody's from. We got that information to try to get a good representation of the city. And I think we achieved that. And I think to upset that, just, hey, anybody who wants to get on board now, just come on board, allows that to be upset with, hey, I've got an issue, so we're all going to get together. We got 10 of us, 20 of us, 30 of us got an issue, and we're going to come in here and sway things. So I don't know that that's the way it would happen, but I just feel like, just as Bonnie said, we worked hard to come up with a process that we felt was fair and appropriate. We did it well, and we're ready to go. And the meetings are public meetings, correct, Bill?
Well, if there are meetings, they will be public meetings. If you remember, some years ago, a lot of the data was collected by survey. I'm not a survey fan, but I think one of the difficulties, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I think City Council has the same confusion. The community participation team does not write this plan. The community participation team's job is to go out and get people to provide input. So whether you're on the team or not, you get to provide just as much input. Maybe get to provide more input if you're not on the team, to be perfectly honest with you. But, they are not writing the plan. Those of us on the steering committee are not writing the plan. Kevin and his large staff of nobody is writing the plan when we get all done. But their job is to solicit community input. And I do agree, Lee had the term when we met, I was going to talk about that in a few minutes, herding cats. And if you got to herd 22 people, that's a lot of cats that get herded. 12 is a lot. Personally, if somebody asked me, I would like a team of about 5 or 6. But
we talked about it.
We can make 12.
So, one more comment, please.
Please, go ahead.
We had discussed a few meetings ago a working session between the council and us, because I kind of believe this kind of back and forth where they go and override us and they send us a letter and then we override them and they're not here. Would it be better to get the two parties together? Because I think, Bill, your explanation is very good, and maybe they don't understand that, or maybe should we develop our own letter, a response of reasons, something more than the commission voted 6-0 to, go against the council's recommendation. Just something more personal, maybe, if we're not going to do that, so they are able to reach out to the people who voted for them and explain to those folks who are asking questions, because you can't imagine that they're coming to us because they want to, right? Somebody's bringing this to them. The voters are bringing it to them to say, hey, I asked to participate and I was told I couldn't participate. So if we just had a good explanation that they could give to those folks, or that would explain this, it might be a better process than to just
raise a good question, and I was going to bring it up a little later, but since you bring it up, maybe this is the appropriate time. In the second page of our work session minutes, it says that we agree that there will be a letter sent to the mayor and the chairman of the EAD to ask if members of each group could serve on the steering committee. We've not heard a response. I don't know if that letter has been sent, but we have asked. And they have access to these minutes. I don't know if that's happened, but we've asked for them to participate with us. And we have asked that they be asked. I don't know that we've actually asked them. I was going to ask them. I'd like to follow up on that, because if we haven't, I would like that request to go out. And I think that is the way that we communicate with council. That's my opinion. And if you look at historically, there has been a council member on the steering committee. So that's not a new trend. That seems to be the way it's been done in the past.
We have the very unique and great position of not having to be, I guess, conscious of voters. We are a recommending body. We're not a lawmaking body. We're only asked to make recommendations. So what we do is we try to come up with what we feel is the best recommendation. Well, I begin to wonder sometimes, why are we, at times I sort of have the feeling of why are we taking all this time to make these recommendations, but yet that's the way our system works. We continue to do it. But the council has the right to override what we do. And I'm fine with that. But I'm not fine with sitting here working and doing what we think is best. And then honestly, just to succumb to pressure, maybe is what I'm going to say. I change what I think is right. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm not that kind of person, and I'm not going to do it. As I say, I'm not going to do it. I'm sticking with what we did. I think it was the right thing to do. Now, if they want to change it, I say fine. And I don't really, honestly, I don't feel like I have to meet with City Council. I think they're well aware of what we do, and I don't feel like there's a bridge there or a gap between us that they don't understand and we don't understand. I understand what I'm asked to do fully, and what I took an oath to do is to make a recommendation from what I have, and I'm going to say in this case my past experience with dealing with this. I feel like that does come into play. And I've done that, and I have seen no justification to change what we voted on. Now, they have the right to do whatever they like to do, and they may be under different pressures than I am. I'm not under any, which is a great feeling. I mean, I literally, and I may wind up tomorrow without a position here, but I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to be honest, and that's the way I feel. Now, do we want to put this to a vote here tonight? Is that what we would need to do? Put it on our agenda and vote that, whatever. Is that proper? Or?
I think it would clarify things personally.
I think it
we
would.
need
We have
to do
to
that.
change it, but I think
Do we need to clarify to be?
I mean, to be frank, I think the vice mayor politely asked us to consider it, and I think
We've considered it.
And,
Okay.
and at least two of us have politely, or maybe I'll just say two of us clearly politely said no.
I think, Madam Chairman, there may be somewhat of a misconception by the applicants that they're actually providing input. In fact, they're only going to be asked to facilitate input. And so somewhat neutrality, and with that balanced composition of the committee was really our aim.
Yes, because precincts, I even said that when we were discussing it. Exactly, Lee. That was one of the things that I looked at in the applicants. I tried to, as Rich said,
And
kind of diversify.
I
You're
would
right.
convey to those who perhaps were not part of the first 12 that if they are seeking input, there is going to be opportunity for input.
Absolutely.
And we'll be encouraged. But at the same time, I think the due diligence that we did to be mindful of the balance. We didn't do it lightheartedly. We took time.
I think it's important what we did. So,
That's,
I guess, do we have a consensus then, so we don't need to put it to a vote? Do you feel comfortable with that? To send the message that we stand strong, or?
I would not be in that. So I would vote that I think that we should recommend a way to try to find a good mix, either to explain it to council, the explanation that Bill gave, or to try to find a way to help those people be more included, even if it was to say with the letter, hey, you can be part of the process by attending the public things, the public forums or whatever, but that's where I would be.
She might, Vicki
I'm
may
trying
have
to
a
find-
copy.
Yeah.
I know we sent some things out.
We did.
I did. I tried to, in the letter that I wrote, I'm trying to find that right now, I encouraged them, as much as I knew how to please be a part of the input process, to come and participate. It's important that they give their comments and give us their input, because we were looking for input from everyone. I'm just trying to see if I can find the right one. I can read it to you guys. That's my selection one. Let me see if I can find my other one. I'm sorry. It's in here somewhere. Of course, I can't get my hands on it. Okay, I basically said this, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
The Poquoson Planning Commission recently had the privilege of reviewing 22 applications that were submitted by citizens like you who graciously volunteered to serve on the Comprehensive Plan Participation Committee. Upon careful deliberation of the candidates, all of which were qualified to serve in this capacity, the Commission had to make the difficult decision of selecting the 12 committee members, regrettably of which you were not included. These appointments were formally approved at their Monday evening, April the 18th. At the aforementioned meeting, the Commission specifically asked that I relay their sincere appreciation for your willingness to serve and to encourage you to attend and participate in the upcoming public input sessions by sharing your vision, concerns, and comments as it relates to the various sections of the plan. Rest assured, these input sessions will be widely publicized in order to fully engage the citizenry. On behalf of the entire Planning Commission, thank you for offering your time and talents for the betterment of our community. It's indeed our concerned active citizens that make our city great.
That's an excellent letter.
Well worded.
Yeah,
That is
excellent.
And I do believe we need to reply back to council
In a written form.
in written form, exactly. We received a letter, we respond with a letter that, again, politely, we reject your request, and this is why.
We appreciate, we appreciate the letter and, but we
So,
just.
Rich, I'm sorry, Madam
No, go ahead, I'm
Chairperson.
sorry.
So, Rich, are you saying we would reply back with the letter we reject? And so I would agree with that. I think that's the appropriate thing to do,
I do
rather than
too.
just put it to a vote.
Yeah. And I guess, with that said, I don't guess we have do we have anything else? All right, well, I'm just going to go down the line real quickly since we're all want to go home. I'm sorry, I was getting ready to ask you.
One other thing, the steering committee. The last time that we met, Lee and Bill spoke up and said that they were most interested in taking a leadership role in that. But we were also trying to confirm if there were other members that wanted
And
to
I've done
participate.
that. I'll cover that when we
We're
get
all
to
kind of
me.
looking at you, Reg.
Very good.
Okay,
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
All right.
Ears must have been burning during that meeting.
Debbie, was it anything else you needed to say tonight?
Yes, and I'm going to be very brief. I want to introduce to you this evening. I'm surprised he hasn't ran out. He's one of the last men standing. Please come up to the podium.
Please do.
This is Dannon O'Connell. He has started today, and he is what we are calling a graduate management assistant intern.
GMA.
And he will be working between the planning department and city manager's office. And his role with the planning commission or the planning department is to assist in the drafting and the overseeing of the participation team or
The comp plan.
yeah.
Debbie is
The
being very
comp plan
polite.
process.
He's got to write the plan.
So you know what? I was just sitting here thinking, guess what? Here's your first letter to write.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. So, hello everyone. I'm Dannon O'Connell. I've been a resident of around the area of Charlottesville, Virginia since 2006. My parents are New Englanders. I grew up, spent most of my teenage years in a small city in Rhode Island, much like this one. I have a bachelor's in government from William & Mary, and as of December 2014, I have a master's in comparative politics from UVA. But I am here to learn about local government from you all and from the city of Poquoson, so I will be here working with the city planning and city manager's offices, and you'll probably see me in the rows here in your meetings as well as city council meetings, so I'm just very happy to be here and very happy to learn from you all.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Yeah, glad to have you. Nice
I'm
to
surprised
have you at the
you
meeting
Just a
tonight.
nice introductory meeting, wow.
Thank you. We'll look forward to working with seeing.
Okay, one more thing.
All right, Debbie, go ahead.
Okay, to get you prepared for your next meeting in June, which I have no idea what that date is. I think it's like June 19th or something. But nevertheless, we have two applications that have been filed. One is a rezoning that was provided by Mr. Bob Moses. He is proposing to rezone the property located on With Creek Road between George's and Dollar General to expand the Fountains development up to With Creek Road from Alpha Street. So therefore, that application will be presented to you for public hearing and consideration next month. In addition to that, we have received a conditional use permit application, which I think we advertised last month, for the mini storage warehouse units with an office building strip in front of it, to be located on the Brick Kiln Creek property, which is located on the west side of Wood Creek Road as you're heading out of Poquoson. So,
North of Woodhaven.
yeah. But anyway, we're going to have a meeting, and it might be an interesting one. So
Bring it on, we're ready.
that's all I have, and thank you for
Deb.
your service this evening.
Thank you. Kevin?
I'll just keep it brief. We appreciate you all so much and the work that you do here. I know this meeting was a long one tonight, but we really do appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate y'all too. All right, Chris down on the end there.
It has
Got anything?
it has been a long night, so I want to thank you all for coming out and looking forward to going home.
We've broke y'all in easy because we had these short meetings, but now you know why.
They're easy. They're easy when everyone agrees, right?
Right. But even when we don't agree, we have good points. Everybody does.
And I don't mean to come across to disagree with you, but certainly my point of view is very strong like yours. I believe that we did do the right thing, but I also believe we kind of owe explanation sometimes to the constituents of the city council.
Okay. Well, that's fine. We appreciate your opinion. Lee?
Well, I have some personal news. I just became a grandmother again this
Congratulations. Boy or girl?
Little girl.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
Poquoson, so there you go.
Wonderful.
Much more fun than being a parent.
School system, I'm doing what we can, right?
Yes, that is nice.
Part of the
Very
solution.
nice. It certainly is. Well, congratulations. Goss.
Despite what some people might think, I think we have one of the best city staffs that we could
I do too. Yeah.
and I think you all do a fantastic job.
They certainly do, and we do appreciate them. We certainly do. Well, Rich?
I will just say, no, my ears were not burning last month. However, I was quickly accosted with an email that I sat on for about a week, but did finally agree to the terms that Mr. Travis proposed.
He can be very persuasive.
You didn't have to.
That's what he kept it going like, well, I understand if you don't. And it just made me feel guilty about it.
He kind of looked like the Godfather.
I walk past his house every morning.
Yeah.
So I know when the car's there and when it's not. At the risk of running along, I want to give you a very, very, very brief update of the steering committee, and I do think that monthly I should try to do that as long as we're making any progress. And Lee and I did meet with the staff last week. You're all familiar with the open meeting rules. No more than two of us can meet in any governmental decision or making process unless it's been announced and it's an open meeting. What we really try to do was to work out a rough idea of what we'll do in the first meeting with the participation team, which will now be in early June. It was going to be last week, but it was delayed because of the decision tonight. It'd probably be a fairly brief meeting. Our idea is, other than introductions, we want to give these folks a brief history as to where it is we've been and how we got to where it is we are now, and then hit them with the real hard part, what their job is. And they've really got the big lifting. They've got the heavy lifting job here, because what we're going to really try to emphasize to them is that it is their responsibility to collect community input. And it's kind of easy to say we'll just have a meeting, but they've got to really sit down and think about how are we going to do our best to get inputs from various geographic regions, socioeconomic regions, age regions, people's interest regions, homeowners versus renters, all these kinds of things. You can't necessarily document, but that's what they have to try to do. That's going to be difficult. We're going to ask them to do a couple of things. We're going to ask them, one, to decide on some leadership, whether they want to elect, vote, whatever they want to do. We'll call it a chair and a vice chair. If they can call a leader and a vice leader, we don't care. They can get to decide to do that. We're going to recommend that as they think about how they try to segment these populations, segment these groups, that they do consider subcommittees. And let a subcommittee of 2 or 3 work on a project, whether that project be getting people from the eastern region or that project being getting renters or whatever they decide to do. we have to try to give them as much free rein as possible. We're going to ask them to keep us informed as what they're doing. We'd like to go to any kind of meetings they have, just so we can keep informed, try to be help. We're not going to try to be directive. We'll try to coordinate with the city to get them as much assistance as possible. We're going to ask that their chair, whatever they call them, meet with us periodically so that we can keep them informed. We want to kind of act as a liaison. That's kind of what we have in mind. I say we. Lee and I are the two that have been public. I have talked to Richard. I have talked with Jay. Both of them have reluctantly agreed if they will assist more, really, quite frankly, more behind the scenes. Now, they certainly can come to public meetings. That's certainly great. But what we really want is some fresh eyeballs to look at some things that are going on and point out things that we might be missing. That's really what I've asked them to do. And if you notice, just like Richard has real good ideas on land use things, and we really want to take advantage of those opportunities. So that's kind of what we have in mind right now. What I'd like to, again, to be able to do is either Lee and I give you a brief update at each of our committee meetings as to what we're doing. And as we see what the makeup of our steering committee might be, we can decide about when we have some meetings. I mean, if it turns out it's just going to be members of the Planning Commission, we'll probably try to meet 30 minutes before the Planning Commission meeting. That way you can publicize it in the same notice on the website, and we're not taking any time out of anybody else's life. But we got to see what we're going to do about that first. That's kind of where we are today, and I just felt like I should let you know that something is happening. Don't feel like you're left out, especially for our new members. But anything that comes about in this document will ultimately come to this board, probably in a chapter-by-chapter basis for a public hearing and vote, and it will go to City Council for public hearing and vote. So even if you're not in, on the steering committee, you're going to have every bit as much say what happens as anybody else. And that's really important to remember that, too. And I'm sorry it took that long, but...
No. We need to hear that. That's very good. Okay, well, thank y'all for doing it. Appreciate it. Okay, Vicki, anything you need to advise us of?
Not at all. I just think you guys just do a super job. Really do. I've been with this now for 29 years. And I've always found the Planning Commission to be I feel like you're the workhorse, if I may say that, the workhorse for the city, and you really do the groundwork. Probably talking too much, but you really do the groundwork for City Council and make it a lot easier for City Council to consider important issues.
Well, we thank you for those kind words, and we also feel like you certainly do a lot for us, too. And with that said, I think we can adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.
I miss Dancing with the Stars. Make sure that gets in the minutes.